want to say welcome to The Hop, and we are so excited to welcome Melanie Ferguson today with Southern Crush at Home. And Melanie is our very, very first interview, and I can't think of a better person to start with. I have gotten to know Melanie just over the last couple of times that we visited, and I've gone to her website and gotten to see her just beautiful work and her crafts, and I know that you are going to love getting to know Melanie today and seeing her business. And so we are going to get started. Melanie, I just want to say welcome to you today. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be the first one. What an
I
honor.
know this is a brand new thing and it's a challenge for me. And I know that I really think that it's going to be something great for people to really hear from other bloggers, people that are, it might be that you're interested in blogging, but it could just be that you're interested in what bloggers do. And it's not just blogging, but it's a business. And so, and just really seeing kind of behind the scenes and what happens day to day. And I think it's going to be something that's a lot of fun. I think it'll be encouraging to you. You're going to hear some really great stories. And so I'm excited for Melanie to share her story today. And I think it's going to be encouraging and uplifting. And I hope it challenges you. Maybe you'll learn something and you're going to want to go see her website. You're going to want to be a part of what she's doing and seeing all the great crafts that she's doing. She's got some really neat upcoming events. And so you're going to want to be a part of that. So, all right, Melanie, well, let's get started.
All right. I'm
Okay,
ready.
so let's go. So the very first thing is I just want you to tell us about yourself, maybe tell us about your family and how you got started with this.
Yay. Okay. So my name's Melanie Ferguson and I write the blog Southern Crush at Home. And I have a family. I am a wife and a mother of two grown children. I call them grown, like one's 20 and one's 18. So they're kind of grown. So my senior lives at home still. She's a senior in high school. And then my son goes to Texas Tech. So kind of your neck of the woods.
Yes, absolutely. Go Red
But
Raiders.
I know, right? And but what was the question? What was about my family and then Southern
Yes,
Crush?
just tell us a little bit about yourself and then also Southern Crush at Home, how you got started with that.
I love that. I love that story. So, straight out of college, I knew after about a year of working for somebody else that that was not going to be for me, like ever. um, I just couldn't wrap my brain around the fact that after you finished your work, you still needed to just sit there. And I didn't understand. I was like, I'm just supposed to sit here for the 7 other hours of the day just so that I can get my paycheck. So I was like, this just doesn't even seem right. And back in the day, I mean, there was no like internet where you just did things on the side. So immediately I knew the entrepreneurial world was for me. My mother was my inspiration. She owned her own business for 30 years. So I watched that growing up and I was just always like, wow, that looks like hard work. And I didn't know how much work it was until I started it myself. So I jumped in with both feet and tried several different things. And they were all excellent. And you know how God has a plan? Like some of it is for a certain season, and then you move on to the next thing. And it wasn't a fail, it was an experience. Okay. And so I experienced owning, being an esthetician and owning a spa. And then I experienced owning an advertising agency with clients. And then I experienced being a real estate agent for over 20 years. And that is what led me into where I am now, crazy enough. So it's been quite the ride.
Wow. Wow. Well, and that is so true because I know that every experience along the way just kind of to me, it just leads to the next one. It's just like a preparation for the next step in our journey. And it's amazing when you look back on that to see how God really did prepare us for the next step. And sometimes those steps are hard. Sometimes we don't understand why we're walking through that particular circumstance, but then we realized that we were being equipped for whatever that next place in our life was going to be. And it really is amazing to see that happen.
it's very miraculous and weird and freaky and all the things.
Yes.
So with the real estate, we had bought a building in our downtown. We live in a really small town in Texas, just north of Dallas. It's about an hour from Dallas and about an hour from Oklahoma. So we're kind of right there. And so we bought this historical building in the downtown area of our small little town, just north of Denton. And we were like, we'll do our business in here. And then we looked and it was like 3,000 square feet. I mean, we're talking built in 1800, right?
Wow.
No, it was built in 1900. And we were just like, what else could we do? And that was right about the time that Chip and Joanna Gaines were gaining traction and starting to become a thing. And we were like, that farmhouse stuff is really taking off. We should put in a store. And so all of a sudden, we found ourselves with a home decor store. And it was amazing. It took off. It was popular. People would come from all over the area, and people would come from other areas. They came into town to visit people in like other areas of the Metroplex, but they would come all the way to our little town because they thought it was like an adventure.
Yes.
And so they would shop all of our things, and we had all the things. We had a bit of boutique. We had candles. We had painted furniture that I got to paint. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we did our real estate and our home decor out of that space for about 3 years. And then the craziest thing happened. So we went out of town on a vacation over the 4th of July break. And isn't that when all the things happen, is when you leave town? Mysteriously, our space got flooded. So we were faced with a choice. We had already been approached by several potential investors that wanted to buy the building because changes, when things start popping, like investors get excited. And so we had said, no. Well, now we were faced with, do we want to replace everything in here and all the floors and all the things, or do we want to just sell the building and be done? And we chose to sell the building. And it was one of the best things we could have ever done because that was about 1 year shy of COVID. So while it was quite devastating and heartbreaking, of course.
I'm sure.
And the store was called Southern Crush. Okay. There's a crazy story with that too.
Yeah.
Basically, I had a contest when I first opened the doors, and I said, I want the community to help me name this, right? I don't really know what to name it. We should just all come together, have a contest to name it. Well, we did a live video on Facebook, and we were like, all right, so what are we going to name it? And we'd already kind of come up with Southern Crush, but we weren't sure. And it just came out. Like literally when we announced it, we're like, it's Southern Crush. And so that's what it was. But when we closed down, we moved everything home, and it became Southern Crush at home. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and it was probably something, I mean, I can't imagine in the moment. I mean, looking back now, it sounds not easy, but it sounds so right. All those steps and the journey, but I'm sure in the moment it was, for the lack of a better word, crushing, to think about, making that decision to sell and to close that part of your life. I mean, and that was such a huge part of it. I can't even imagine how hard that must have been. But then when COVID hit, I mean, that was just really providential that you had been prepared for that already.
Fully prepared.
Right.
It was such a blessing. We, liquidated, so we didn't have a lot of things at the house that year before everything hit. And so what happened was I came home and I immediately thought, this is going to be so much better because I live in an older home, and it originally was an antique store.
Oh, wow.
So like part of it, and it already had everything set up, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to sell from here, but I don't want to keep hours. I don't want to keep my house. So I'll just do it all online. And I quickly learned that you don't want to ship if you're dealing with antiques and one of a kinds, because several things broke and they're not replaceable. So, so I decided to just kind of explore the online space.
Right.
And that's when the crafts started.
You know, it's amazing. Again, it goes back to that whole journey thing of just trusting. And, you know, I know for me, just as you trust the Lord in each and every step, you know, he is so faithful. I know, and I can see it in you that you've seen that too. And it's a neat testimony to see that and to hear that. So
it is. And talk about testimony. I was sitting out back on my back patio one afternoon, and I was just like, what do you want me to do, Lord? Because it's so interesting. When you are walking in the path that he has designed for you, things just come a little easier. And it's kind of, I always say, it's kind of like when you're at the airport, you can get from terminal to terminal and walk just fine. But if you're on one of those moving sidewalks, it goes so much faster. It's so much smoother. You are just, you know, propelled forward. And that's what it's like when you are walking in his design. So I was just like, what do you want me to do? Because when also a chapter is closing, because like I said, I did real estate for 20 years and we still were doing real estate when we came home. But he will slowly close those doors. So it was never a problem to get business. For years, I didn't even have to try to get business. It would fall in my lap. Again, the moving sidewalk. And then it slowed and it slowed and it slowed. And he just kept saying crafts, crafts, crafts. No direction, no specific, just the word crafts. And I was like, what? What do you want me to do with crafts? I've never crafted in my life. What, are you kidding me? You know, what? And I just thought, crafts, that's for grandmas. What's a craft? And so I got online and I was like, oh, it's a whole nother world of people. Like, all these people are enjoying themselves doing crafts, watching crafts, collecting crafts. I mean, they are just like this whole nother section of people. So I thought, well, just lean into it. And I'm sure glad I did, because now I have this entire following on Facebook, and they are amazing, amazing, amazing. And I am so blessed by them. I just had like a surgery last week, and they all were just messaging me and emailing me and texting me and saying, are you okay? How are you doing? And checking on me and stuff like that. That I would never have all of that if I didn't have them. So
it becomes a family. I mean, they really, once you, and I think a lot of it too is when you let people kind of into who you are and connect with them. I think a lot of it, especially in our world today with technology, it's just a way to really connect with people. And I think when they see that you're real and they connect with you on that level, it really is amazing to see how people reach out. And, you know, I've seen that. And I think there are a lot of people out there that just want those connections, and crafting and decorating and all those different things is just it's just a way to connect with people. And when you were talking about your following, tell us about your following on your social media. You have a huge following on your social media and all those different things. How many followers do you have?
I think it's like 172,000 today.
That's what I thought.
I'd have to look. But anyway, yes, but that doesn't come easy or quickly. Clearly.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So when did you first start this? When did you start your blogging journey? How many years ago? What did you say it was?
Well, I looked up this year because I was thinking it had been a certain number of years or weeks or whatever, months. And I looked and I was like, oh, I'm starting the third year. So this is year 3 for me with the blog. So that was something completely new to me. Like, honestly, I mean, I had heard of blogging, but I had no idea what it was. No
Right.
idea.
Right.
Because I was focused on real estate.
Sure, sure. Well, so you'd heard of blogging. So how did you get started into blogging? What kind of propelled you? I know that with your story and everything and taking your store home and doing all that, but then how did you get into blogging? I know there's some people out there that, they might not be interested in blogging, but they might be interested in knowing kind of the behind the scenes of it and what you do, maybe even day to day. I know that some people may think that this is just a little side job and they might want to know what it really looks like. It's hard work.
It is a lot of hard work. I would say that I just, like I said, got online and started seeing others and that were successful. And when you find successful people, the best thing to do is kind of mimic some of the things they're doing. Every single one of them had a blog. So I was like, well, this must be a thing. And another friend encouraged me. She goes, oh, you should just do a blog. You should do a blog. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be a writer. Well, it's not being a writer. In fact, writing is very little of it.
Right.
And when I got knee deep in it, I realized all of the income opportunities that blogging had to offer. And I was like, wow, I'm in, because this reminds me of real estate. Because with real estate, what I loved about it was that the sky's the limit. Like, you are your only enemy. You can go as far as you want to go. You put the work in, you most likely will get a benefit out. And it's the same thing with the blogging.
Right. Absolutely. So tell us, what does your typical work day look like or your work week look like?
Well, so the blogging is something that just evolves. So you just have to start. And there's really no one out there that's just going to hold your hand, or at least there wasn't when I was around, that's going to be like, here's how you start, here's what you do. And the reason I think for that is because the blogs are all different. Like, it could be anything. It
Right.
could be blogging about gardening. You could be blogging about cooking. You could be blogging about crafting, blogging about the stock market. I mean, you could literally blog about any topic out there. So I don't guess why there's not something that will just hold your hand through the process. But what I'm trying to get to is that my daily used to be one thing, and it's evolved into something completely else. So my daily won't be the same and match up for everybody else's daily. But there are certain things that need to get done in order for your blog to be successful. And one of them is content. And it doesn't always mean that you have to have new content. It depends on how you set your blog up. So if you set your blog up where a lot of your content is, they call it cornerstone content, where you just build on the same content with tie-ins from other pieces of content, then you won't always be recreating. You'll be spending a lot of your time tweaking old posts or making them better, right? Or making sure they're found on Google, or promoting the posts, which all of us should be doing for all of our blog posts. But if you have one that is like mine, which is a little more lifestyle, and you have certain segments in the blog that have to be updated every single week, then you're going to be basing your workday on new content. So every time I do a DIY, it's got to go on the blog. Yeah. So there's a couple of craft tutorials that will go on the blog every single week. There is a new segment that I started since this filming, called Southern Crush Collective, and it's my weekly favorites from around the internet from other bloggers. And so that's a great way to also collaborate and grow your blog. So my day has a certain amount of things that have to get done at the very beginning so that I don't spend the rest of the day worrying about it. And I started this new thing called the Pomodoro effect, or I don't know why I keep saying it. It's not I keep thinking of like the magic show Carbonaro effect or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, it's Pomodoro technique. Maybe that's what it's technique.
Yeah.
Anyway, where you work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break 4
Mm-hmm.
times and then you take
Right.
time off. In those first couple hours, I try to get all the things that are just what do you call it when you just can't not do them.
Right. Yes.
I get those done, and then that frees up the afternoon because I found that in the afternoons I'm a little less productive, and I'll either be I can be creative in the afternoon, just not the thing. I do the hard things that are hard for me in the morning, which are the technical things like the writing and the photograph sizing and effects and all that stuff. So I try to do all that stuff morning time.
Right.
And so I front load the day and I front load the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are my busier days, pretty much the whole day. And then when you get to Friday, for sure, it becomes a lot looser so that I can either not be around or do whatever I feel like. So
Sure. Well, and the point of it is so that you do have flexibility with your life and with your family. And you want this to be something that works for you and not necessarily that you're working for it. And so I think that that's something that's really important too. And I know it's different for everybody, and that they're at different places. And I know that you and I, when we talked, I'm earlier on in my journey for sure. And I still work full time. And I love my full-time job, and what I do there, and I work for a school district, and I get to do a lot of what I do with my blog. And so I feel like what I do in both places kind of is working hand in hand, because what I learn in both places I get to give back. And so that's really been beneficial, and something that I've enjoyed. But there is a transition time, and there is a lot of work when you do work full time.
there is a lot of work. And I tell you what, I just got to this point. Like, it's the third year. Those first 2 years, I never stopped. It was 16-hour days, 7 days a week. And that's not good. You will burn out, but I was equipped. I was made for that.
That's right. Well, and I think you have to enjoy what you're doing, and when it becomes something that you don't enjoy anymore, you need to reevaluate that. And so, and it's going to be hard work at times. That doesn't mean that it's always going to be fun. But as long as you keep that in the back of your mind, that this is something that I love and I'm called to do, I'm going to get through those hard times. And so I know that's kind of been that way for me. I know that's kind of what has pushed me through. And I have to get up early and sometimes work on things before I go to the office. And when I get home, I eat dinner, and then I jump on and get busy and get my work done for the blog. So I understand, but you just do what you have to do to get it done.
That's right. And it's just a little bit at a time. And I will say that I just now hired help. And I think that's really been an amazing step. But my rule of thumb is never hire what you don't know how to do yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How will you know if they're doing it right? How will you know if they're really succeeding? What numbers are they showing you? The good ones? I mean, so you've got to really know what it is before you hand it off.
Right.
But
yeah,
finally,
that's great advice. Very good. That is excellent advice. I know that's something that's been good for me. I think, even in my job, is that I've had to really teach myself how to do a lot of these things that I had no clue how to do before. But that's the beauty of where we are today in our technology, that there's so many things that you can get on and learn from other people and be trained, and it's out there, it's available. And so I really love that. So I
love that too.
Awesome thing. So, okay. So what has been your biggest challenge and obstacle through this journey?
Well, it's been my biggest challenge and obstacle my entire life. Just, the people. So it's always like a love hate. It's like you love, love, love. My favorite part, people ask me, what's your favorite part of what you do? Well, the people. What's
Mm-hmm.
your biggest challenge? Well, the people.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
I mean by that are like online haters. Or so I started about a year and a half ago, and which was, I guess, was about a year and a half into my journey, this collaborative event that I do every quarter called a craftathon. So it's an all-day marathon of 36 crafters. They all do a project for 20 minutes over 12-hour time span. And so we've had several of those. They're amazing. They're always a hit. But, having to deal with some of the things in it and some of the people and some of the, challenges, I guess, that come with that have been kind of learning curves for me. And I've had to learn a lot to let go of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And try to not take things personally. And it's the same way with your blog. Like when you get a negative comment or somebody doesn't like something you've written, you have to learn to just let it be water under the bridge, because that is kind of, that's how it was in real estate. My favorite thing in real estate was that we would work for however long, really hard, get someone twice, not twice as much as they were asking, but more than they were asking, all of their terms, all of the things, record time. And they would always turn around and tell all their friends, I sold my house. I sold my house. No, I sold your house.
Right.
It's just, you have to learn how to not take things personally, and just see the blessing for what it is, and just know that, be thankful that God put you in the way of that income, and that it's an option even for you. So.
Right. Yeah, I think it goes back to your why. You always have to go back to your why and why you're doing it. And, you have to learn your why and your calling and why you're doing it, and just always keep your eyes and your focus on that. And so, but it's always hard. It seems like the hurtful comments are the ones that seem to come the loudest, and they just seem to stick a little bit more. I don't know what it is about that. So what's been the biggest surprise in your blogging journey?
I was surprised at how many ways you can make a living off of a blog. So, it was very eye-opening. Again, now I didn't know anything about blogging, so it's not a surprise that something surprised me. But, it's not just ad revenue. And there's some people who don't even put ads on their blog.
Right.
So, there are so many more ways to make a living. It was very surprising to me, and I was just like, okay, I can lean into this, because I was always taught by very successful people in the past, diversify. You need multiple ways that you make a living, so that if one of them doesn't succeed as well one month, then the others, you're still fine. So that was very, I just thought, life after real estate wouldn't be as financially beneficial. And I'm staying corrected. You can make a lot of money online.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. I know that'll be encouraging, especially for those that are interested in it. So, so what inspires you? What has, especially with, I know it's been interesting to hear your story and your journey into doing crafting, and like with your craftathons and all of that. So where do you get your ideas for all of this?
Well, it's weird. People think I'm weird. For the business side of things, what has to happen is I have to get really right with the Lord. So, you have to get really still and really quiet. This is going to sound so Looney Tunes, but like, a lot of times, because I'm a workaholic, like self-confessed, I'm a workaholic.
Me
Um,
too.
but if I'll go to bed early, and we're talking 11, nothing earth shattering. If I'll go to bed early a few nights, if I will have my time in prayer and just there's other things involved, but like I will wake up so refreshed. I will have so many ideas. I will be ready to run. It is crazy. But if and especially since I've like hired help, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was like, it's so weird because all the things I used to do that filled up my head, I couldn't even see my dining room table that was still decorated from 2 seasons ago. Like I couldn't even see that because my mind was so full of what has to be done right now. And so if I just get really quiet and really write, it's amazing the creativity that flows.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to have a clear mind.
I was about to be diagnosed with diabetes. And so I had to kind of make a personal decision am I going to get control of this myself, or am I going to have to take medicine? So it really kind of had to be, and this kind of goes to the blogging stuff too, and that there wasn't anything else that was going to change it for me or do it for me. It had to be me. And it had to be a mind change. And that's what had to happen first, was my mind had to be changed, and before the actions changed. And so that's really what I started doing, was my mind changed. And so because of my schedule, because of my life and all of that, in order to do what I needed to do, I was going to have to get up 30 minutes earlier. I thought, well, I'm going to get up 30 minutes early. I'm going to get on my treadmill. We have a basement and I have a treadmill and I can walk, and I have an iPad. And that's when I met the Lord in that time. And I put my iPad on there, and I would use a devotional there, and I would just read. And I have a bulletin board with pictures of my family and different things. And I would pray. And just those 30 minutes before, I was getting my exercise and my prayer time and just that time that I needed. And then I started doing it at night too. I started doing 30 minutes at night. And that time, and honestly, that is when my journey, and I felt like the Lord kind of prompted me to start Harvesting Home and my blogging journey. And so, and that's when I got control of my health and all of that. So it was some really great things that came out of that too. So
that's amazing.
Okay, so let's go to really just kind of the last question, and that would be, what would you like people to know about Southern Crush at Home, and maybe some upcoming events where they can find you and see your blog and see you on Facebook and all those places that you are on social media?
Yes. Okay. So I'll just give you my little slogan. I always say when I do a video, it's that I hope to inspire you to create and decorate a home that you love. Decorating is my first and most main love. It's when you go to my site, southerncrushathome.com, you will see it says DIY decorating and crafts. So the crafts lead the way, but they're second. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I have that event, the Craftathon. You'll see it right there on my blog. We have it every quarter. I have one coming up here. If you're watching this, right away from the recording date, then it will be March 6th. And so we have a spring, summer, fall, and Christmas Craftathon, and those are super fun to watch. You will see all sorts of inspiration, get new ideas for your business, and meet new crafters. That's the event it was one of those divine things. It was like, oh, do this. I'm speechless because there's no way I could have ever come up with it. Yeah. There's no way, literally, like from the number of crafters to the minutes they're supposed to every little part of how it's put together.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Holy the Lord. Yeah. So anyway, I put it together the first time ever for free because it came to me so quickly, and it was like, do this many, do this way. And then he also, like, the people showed up.
Yeah.
People showed up.
Yeah.
Like like, I didn't know 36 crafters, and so then I have since monetized it, of course, because it was amazing and it was such a hit. And so, yeah, I have a VIP group now that where people have unlimited access to all the past events. So again, that was one of those ways that you can also make money online. Um, but you can find me at southerncrushathome.com on all the social medias.
Great. That's great. So is the Craftathon an online event? So if they come and they sign up, it's something that they'll be able to just do online.
Yes, and you don't even have to sign up for it. Now, there are donated prizes from sponsors. We have sponsors. I was looking around to buy my t-shirt. I don't. But we have a t-shirt, a collectible t-shirt for every event. We have amazing sponsors for every event. And they donate prizes. And so on my site, you'll see a place where you can register for free for the free prizes at the free event. So it's all free and it's all online. It's just, if you want to see it after the first 48 hours, then you join the VIP.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. That sounds so much, I bet it's a lot of fun. And so you do how many different crafts in the Craftathon?
36.
36 crafts. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. And a lot of work for you, I'm sure.
Yes, that's what I hired this year, was a specific VA. She helps me 100% with my VIP group and that event every quarter. So,
Wow.
and it's nonstop.
Yeah.
So it's like I even at the beginning of this year got all ahead of myself, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have one every month this year. And then I started into that journey and I was like, oh, I clearly didn't consult the Lord, because this is not what he meant for me to do. So I quickly nixed that idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stick with what I know.
He knew that you'd be exhausted.
Two of us would have been exhausted.
Yes, yes. Well, that is amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today about Southern Crush at Home. And I hope that everyone will go and check out your site. It's going to be amazing for your new Craftathon coming up on March 6th. And I cannot wait to see everything. I've gone over and visited the site. I've gone through so many different pages and looked at all the different crafts. And be sure, I know you didn't mention it, but one of the things that you said that you came up with that is something that you're kind of known for is your messy bow. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, okay. So just, people said, make things that you like, make things that you enjoy. And I was like, oh, I like bows and I like making bows. So one night, a couple years ago, when I was just starting, I had my daughter with me, and I was like, you know what? Because when you get into social media, you'll learn that, you have to go live all the time in order to keep the algorithm happy, and you have to do all these things. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, let's just record this bow. And I was like, I think I'll make it this way. I think I'll do that. And so literally I started tearing strips of fabric and laying down burlap and using a zip tie, which at the time no one was using to put bows together. And then I added a little piece of, I call it bling, but it's like rhinestone embellishments to the middle of it. And I was like, it leaves such a mess everywhere you have used to create it, like the burlap, everything's everywhere. So I was like, it's just like a messy bow. And so I was like, I'm going to call it the messy bow. And that video went viral. It had 2 million views. I was at the time, I was like, what? And of course, at the time, I wasn't monetized or anything like that. It was just like for the thrill. I was like, oh, what a thrill. And so that took off. And now I just have done different versions for different seasons and holidays. And it's just fun.
Yes, yes. You need to go and look at her bows. They are adorable. When I went over there, she's got her Christmas bow. There's several different ones, and they're really, really are cute. So be sure to check that out. Well, Melanie, thank you so much for being here today and we have just really enjoyed hearing all about your journey and blogging and your site. It's really been an inspiration, and really, really appreciate you sharing your story with us today.
Oh, thank you, Jana. I appreciate you so much for reaching out, and I am so beyond humbled and honored to be the first one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being a part of it, and I know it's been a blessing to me and an encouragement, and I know it's going to be that way for so many others. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.